The first time Dae-hyun saw Aurora smile. Really smile. It wasn't for him. And that's when he realized he wasn't just in love with her. He was ruined. Dae-hyun's office smelled like leather and old blood. The kind of blood that no amount of cleaning could erase, only hide. He sat behind his mahogany desk, the serpent tattoo coiling up his neck like a noose, his fingers steepled as two men knelt before him, trembling. "You stole from me," he said softly. Softly was worse than screaming. The men begged. He didn't hear them. His eyes drifted to the window where Aurora moved through the garden below, hanging laundry on the line. The sole sun caught her dark skin, making it glow like polished mahogany. Her natural curls were pulled into a ponytail, a few rebellious coils framing her face. 3 years. 3 years of her moving through his house like a ghost. He couldn't stop haunting him. "Hyung name," his lieutenant's voice cut through. "Your orders?" Dae-hyun's jaw tightened. "Let them go." Shock rippled through the room. He never showed mercy. "But take a finger. They need to remember." He couldn't watch Aurora and order deaths in the same breath. That's how far gone he was. Across the mansion, Aurora hummed quietly, pinning sheets to the line. She'd been working for the Park family for 3 years, long enough to know Dae-hyun's routines, his silence, the way violence clung to him like cologne. He terrified everyone but her. Maybe because he'd never looked at her long enough to be cruel. To him, she was furniture, invisible. Her phone buzzed, a text from Jun-ho, the kind cafe owner from her neighborhood. "Still on for dinner Friday? Can't wait to see you again." Her smile bloomed, genuine and bright, the kind she never wore inside these walls. She didn't notice the shadow in the window above, didn't notice the way Dae-hyun's knuckles went white against the glass, didn't notice the exact moment his heart cracked open and bled out. What do you think? Happens when Dae-hyun finds out about Jun-ho? Comment your predictions below. Friday arrived like a death sentence Dae-hyun didn't know he'd been handed. Aurora moved through the mansion with unusual lightness, her movements almost dance-like as she prepared to leave. She wore a yellow sundress, not her uniform, and her curls fell loose around her shoulders. Dae-hyun watched from the shadows of his study, his chest constricting. "You're leaving early," he said, his voice cutting through the hallway. Aurora jumped, spinning to face him. He rarely spoke to her directly. Yes, sir. I requested the evening off. Mrs. Park approved?" "I know." He stepped closer, and she could smell his cologne. Something dark and expensive. "Where?" The question hung between them like a blade. "Dinner. With a friend?" "A friend." His eyes, obsidian and unreadable, fixed on her face. "Does this friend have a name?" Aurora's pulse quickened. Why did he care? "Junho, he owns the cafe near—" "I know where he owns his cafe?" Dae-hyun's voice dropped dangerously low. "I know he's 28. Studied business in Busan. Has a younger sister. No criminal record. Volunteers at the animal shelter on Sundays." The blood drained from Aurora's face. "You investigated him?" "I investigate everyone who enters my employees' lives." "I'm not your employee," she whispered, something fierce flickering in her eyes. "I'm Mrs. Parks. You live in my house." He was too close now, close enough that she could see the muscle jumping in his jaw. "That makes you mine to protect." The word mine hung in the air like smoke. "I don't need protection from Junho," Aurora said, lifting her chin. "He's kind, gentle, he makes me laugh." Each word was a knife twisting in Dae-hyun's gut. "Enjoy your dinner, Aurora." Her name, he'd never said it before. It sounded like a prayer and a curse. "But take Mingyu, he'll drive you." "Sir, I don't need—" That wasn't a request. He turned and walked away, before she could see what was breaking behind his eyes. That night, Dae-hyun sat in his car across from the cafe, watching through the window as Aurora laughed at something Yunho said. The bastard was exactly what she described. Kind, gentle. Everything Dae-hyun wasn't. Everything he could never be. And as Junho reached across the table to tuck a curl behind Aurora's ear, Dae-hyun felt something inside him shatter and rebuild simultaneously. He wasn't just in love with her, he was destroyed by her. Dae-hyun became a ghost in his own house. He avoided Aurora, conducting business from his downtown office, returning only when she was asleep. But avoidance didn't stop the images burned into his brain. Her smile, her laugh, the way her eyes softened when she checked her phone. Junho texted her constantly. Dae-hyun knew because he'd hacked her phone the night he got home from watching them. He hated himself for it. Couldn't stop himself from doing it. Last night was perfect. When can I see you again? Dae-hyun threw his phone across the room. Hyungnim, the Busan crew needs your answer, his lieutenant said cautiously. Not now. But I said not now. The roar echoed through the office. His men scattered like rats. He was unraveling. The great Dae-hyun Park, feared from Seoul to Jeju, undone by a woman who didn't know he existed beyond the man who signed her checks. Meanwhile, Aurora felt the shift. The mansion grew colder, emptier. She hadn't seen Dae-hyun in 5 days. Mrs. Park mentioned he was busy, but the older woman's eyes held something else. Concern? Suspicion. Aurora, Mrs. Park said gently one morning, using the affectionate term. My son, has he said anything to upset you? No, Mum, I barely see him. Mrs. Park's lips pressed into a thin line. That's the problem. Before Aurora could ask what she meant, her phone buzzed. Junho. My sister wants to meet you. Dinner at my place tomorrow? Aurora smiled, but it felt wrong. Somehow. Like she was betraying something she didn't understand. That night, she found Dae-hyun in his study at 2 a.m., surrounded by empty bottles and scattered papers. He looked up when she entered, his eyes bloodshot. You should be sleeping, he said roughly. So should you. She moved closer, noticing the bruises on his knuckles. You're hurt. It's nothing. Let me... Don't. But when her fingers brushed his hand, he froze. Completely froze. Aurora, you need to leave. The study or the house? His eyes met hers, and for one terrifying moment, she saw everything. The hunger, the agony, the absolute devastation. Both, he whispered. Before I do something we'll both regret. She fled. Her heart hammered against her ribs for reasons she couldn't name. The universe had a cruel sense of humor. 2 days later, Aurora stood in Dae-hyun's study, her resignation letter trembling in her hands. She couldn't stay. Not with whatever was happening between them. This strange, suffocating tension. I'm giving my 2 weeks' notice, she said to his back. He didn't turn from the window. Why? I've been here 3 years. It's time to move on. Is it him? His voice was dead. Junho? This isn't about... Is it him? Aurora's breath caught. We're getting serious. He wants me to meet his family. Eventually, maybe move in together. The glass in Dae-hyun's hand shattered. Blood dripped down his palm, but he didn't flinch. Dae-hyun! Aurora rushed forward, grabbing his hand. You're bleeding. I don't care. But he didn't pull away when she pressed a handkerchief to the wound. You can't leave. You can hire another... I don't want another maid. The words exploded out of him. I want... He stopped, jaw clenched so tight it had to hurt. Before Aurora could respond, Mingyu burst through the door. Hyung-nim, we have a situation. The Osaka syndicate hit one of our warehouses. They took Tae-hyung. Dae-hyun's face went blank, his war mask sliding into place. Assemble everyone. We leave in 10. Sir, they're demanding you come alone or they'll... I know what they'll do. He pulled his hand from Aurora's grip, immediately missing her touch. Aurora, you're staying in the panic room until I return. What? No, That's an order. He was already strapping on weapons, the brutal efficiency terrifying and mesmerizing. Mingyu, lock her in if you have to. Dai Hyun, you can't just... He spun, cupping her face with his bloodied hand, the gesture so unexpected she gasped. If something happens to me, there's an envelope in my desk. Top drawer. Everything you need is in there. What are you talking about? Promise me you'll read it. His eyes were desperate, wild, nothing like the cold boss she knew. I promise, she whispered. He nodded once, then disappeared into the night. Aurora stood frozen, his bloody handprint still warm on her cheek. What do you think is in that envelope? Drop your wildest guesses in the comments. Below! Aurora lasted 30 minutes in the panic room before her curiosity and terror won. She picked the lock, a skill from a rougher life she'd left behind, and went straight to his study. The envelope sat exactly where he said, her name written in his sharp handwriting. Inside, property deeds, bank accounts, a will. Everything left to her. But underneath, a letter. Aurora. If you're reading this, I'm dead. Good. It means I don't have to face you after you know the truth. I'm in love with you. Have been since the day you walked into this house 3 years ago and didn't flinch when my father's blood still stained the foyer. You just cleaned it. Said, I'm sorry for your loss, like you meant it. No one had said that to me. They feared me, obeyed me, but no one saw the grief. You did. I know I'm a monster. I've killed men, hurt people, built an empire on violence. I don't deserve someone like you, someone who still believes in goodness, who volunteers at the children's hospital on Sundays when you think no one notices. I notice everything about you, Aurora. The way you hum when you fold laundry. How you always save the burnt toast for yourself so others get the good pieces. The scar on your wrist you hide with bracelets. The one from when your ex-boyfriend. I took care of him. He'll never hurt anyone again. You don't need to know details. Junho is good for you. He's what you deserve. When I met him, watched him make you smile in ways I never could, I didn't just realize I loved you. I realized I was selfish for loving you. Because love should set you free, not chain you to a killer. The money, the properties, they're yours. Start over. Be happy. Forget the monster who watched you from shadows and pretended it was enough. It was never enough. Dae-hyun P.S. In the bottom drawer, there's something else. I'm a coward for not giving it to you in person. Aurora's hands shook as she opened the drawer. A sketchbook. Pages and pages of her. Aurora reading by. The garden. Aurora laughing at something on her phone. Aurora asleep on the couch after a long day. Each drawing was exquisite, detailed, worshipful. Dates in the corners. 3 years of sketches. 3 years of silent, desperate love. Oh my God, she whispered, tears streaming. You idiot. Her phone rang. Mingyu. Miss Aurora, there's been an explosion. The boss, he's alive, but just come. Please, he's asking for you. The hospital's sterile white felt like a mockery. Aurora burst through the doors of the private wing, Mingyu leading her past his men who stood like sentinels. He won't let the doctors treat him properly, Mingyu said quietly. Keeps asking if you read it. The letter? Whatever it is. It's eating him alive. Dae-hyun lay in the bed, bandaged and bruised, his neck tattoo stark against the white sheets. When he saw Aurora, his eyes closed in defeat. You weren't supposed to read it yet, he said hoarsely. I was supposed to be dead. Well, you're not. She moved to his bedside, the sketchbook clutched to her chest. You're very much alive and we need to talk. There's nothing to 3 years. Her voice cracked. You loved me for 3 years and said nothing? What was I supposed to say? He tried to sit up, winced. That a man who murders for a living wants to hold you? Touch you? That I dream about you every night and wake up hating myself because I know I'd burn the world down if it meant keeping you safe? Yes! The word burst out of her. You were supposed to say exactly that. Silence. Aurora, you're with Junho. I'm not. She sat on the edge of his bed. I broke it off yesterday, before all this. His eyes snapped to hers. Why? Because every time he kissed me, I wondered why it felt wrong. Every time he made me laugh, I felt guilty. I thought something was broken in me. She opened the sketchbook to a drawing of her smiling. Turns out I was just waiting for someone brave enough to see me. I'm not brave, Daehyun whispered. I'm terrified of you. Good. Aurora's fingers traced his jawline, carefully avoiding his injuries. Because I'm terrified of you too. Of this. Of everything you make me feel. I'm covered in blood, Aurora. My hands have done... I know who you are. She leaned closer. And I'm not running. You should. Are you going to make me? His control finally snapped. He pulled her down, his lips crashing into hers with 3 years of starvation behind it. She tasted like hope and redemption, and everything he'd convinced himself he couldn't have. When they broke apart, both breathless, he pressed his forehead to hers. I fell harder, he admitted. After Junho, seeing you with him made me realize I wasn't in love with you. I was drowning in you. And I didn't want to be saved. Then drown, Aurora whispered. I'll drown with you. Recovery was slow. Dae-hyun ran his empire from the mansion, Aurora never leaving his side. His men watched in shock as their brutal boss softened, smiled, became almost human. But the underworld doesn't forgive softness. 3 weeks later, Junho appeared at the mansion gates, bloodied and terrified. Aurora opened the door, her heart stopping. Junho, what happened? They came to the cafe. His voice shook. Men, they said I was a loose end, that you left me for someone dangerous and now I know too much. He grabbed her hands. Aurora, they're going to kill me unless... Dae-hyun appeared behind her, his presence arctic. Unless what? Junho paled. Unless she comes back to me, publicly, they said you're weak now, distracted. If she returns to me, it proves you're still in control, that she meant nothing. Get out! Daehyun's voice was death itself. Please, Junho begged. I don't want to die. You won't, Aurora said firmly. Daehyun, we can protect him. No. Daehyun's eyes were empty. We can't. What? He looked at her, and she saw the resignation. He's right. They're using him to test me. If I protect him, show any attachment to you publicly, every enemy I have will target you. But if you go back to him temporarily, make it seem like you chose the safe, normal life, they'll lose interest. You can't be serious. Aurora, I've made enemies of monsters. They'll gut him just to hurt you, and they'll hurt you to destroy me. His jaw clenched. This is what loving me costs. So what? I'm supposed to pretend... Yes. The word was broken glass. Until I eliminate the threat. How long? However long it takes. Aurora's eyes filled with tears. And if I refuse? Then Junho dies tonight, and it'll be my fault. He stepped back, creating distance. You deserve better than this, than me. Maybe this is the universe telling us, don't. Her voice cut like a whip. Don't you dare use him as an excuse to push me away. I'm not. You are. She was crying now, furious and heartbroken. You're terrified of being happy, so the first threat that comes along, you're ready to sacrifice us. I'm trying to keep you alive. I don't want to just be alive. She shoved his chest. I want to live with you, even if it's dangerous. You don't understand what you're asking. Then make me understand instead of deciding for me. Daehyun grabbed her arms, his control fracturing. They sent me a video, Aurora, of you at the market yesterday. They had a rifle trained on your head for 43 seconds. If I make one wrong move, you're gone. So, yes, I'm deciding for you because I can't... His voice broke. I can't watch you die. The silence was deafening. How long? Aurora whispered. 2 months, maybe 3. And we pretend we mean nothing to each other? Yes. She pulled away from him, something dying in her eyes. You're a coward, Daehyun Park. Not because you're afraid of your enemies, but because you're afraid of love. She walked out, and he let her go. Is Daehyun making the right choice, or is he destroying the only good thing he's ever had? Tell us what you think in the comments. 2 months became a nightmare. Aurora moved back to her apartment, went on dates with Junho, who was safely hidden in one of Dae-hyun's safe houses with a lookalike actor playing him publicly. Photos circulated, the underworld chattered. Dae-hyun's enemies relaxed their guard, and he worked. Brutal, methodical, efficient. He dismantled threats, eliminated targets, burned through the criminal network like wildfire. But at night, alone in his mansion, he stared at her sketches and bled. Mingyu found him drunk in his study one night. Hyung, it's done. The Osaka syndicate is finished. The contracts are terminated. She's safe now. Dae-hyun didn't move. You can bring her home. She won't come. You don't know that. I saw her eyes when she left Mingyu. I broke something that can't be fixed. So you're just giving up? I'm letting her live the life she deserves. Mingyu slammed his hand on the desk. The life she deserves is the one she chooses, and she chose you. But you were too scared to fight for her. The words hung in the air like an execution sentence. Aurora hadn't slept properly in 8 weeks. She played her role perfectly, the woman who'd left danger for normalcy. But every morning she woke up aching for a monster who'd loved her enough to let her go, and hated him for it. Junho, the real one, called her one evening. Aurora, Mingyu just told me it's over. The threat is gone. You can go back to him now. He hasn't called. Maybe he's waiting for you to choose him. He already made his choice. Her voice was hollow. He chose fear. That night, she burned the sketchbook, watched 3 years of love turn to ash, or tried to. She couldn't do it. Pulled it from the flames, her hands shaking as she clutched the singed pages. Damn you, Dae-hyun, she sobbed. Damn you for making me love you. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I'm a coward who broke both our hearts. But I need you to know, letting you go was the hardest thing I've ever done. Not because I'm weak, but because I love you so much that your life mattered more than my heart. If you never want to see me again, I'll understand. But I'll love you until my last breath, whether you're beside me or a world away. DH. Below it, an address. His private estate outside Seoul, the one no one knew about. I'll be here waiting, even if you never come. Aurora stared at the message, tears streaming down her face, and made her choice. The estate was beautiful, a traditional hanok hidden among cherry trees. Aurora found him in the garden, standing exactly where she'd stood the first time he sketched her 3 years ago. He didn't turn when he heard her footsteps. You came. You're an idiot. I know. You hurt me. I know. His voice cracked. You pushed me away instead of fighting for us? I know. He finally turned and she saw he'd been crying. Daehyun Park, the monster of Seoul's underworld, had been crying. I'm sorry, Aurora. I'm so... She kissed him, hard, angry, desperate. When she pulled back, she gripped his collar. If you ever make decisions for me again, if you ever try to protect me by breaking us, I will make you regret it in ways your enemies could only dream of. Understand? Yes. I'm not some fragile thing to be locked away. I know. I chose this life. I chose you. Monster and all. I know. So fight for us, damn it. I will. He cupped her face, his thumbs wiping her tears. I'll fight every demon in hell and every enemy on earth. I'll fight my own fear. I'll fight everything except you. Promise me. I promise. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips, soft and reverent like she was something holy. I fell harder, remember? After Junho. And I'm still falling. I'll never stop falling for you. Good, Aurora whispered against his lips. Because I'm falling too, and I need you to catch me. Always. 6 months later, the wedding was small. Just his most trusted men, Mrs. Park, who cried and said she knew all along, and Yun-ho, who'd become a surprising friend and was dating one of Dae-hyun's female accountants. Aurora wore traditional white hanbok embroidered with gold. Dae-hyun wore black, his neck tattoo visible and proud. When they exchanged vows, his voice shook. I was a monster living in darkness until you walked into my life with your light. You didn't try to fix me or change me, you just loved me, exactly as I am. I'll spend the rest of my life earning that love, being worthy of it, being worthy of you. Aurora smiled, her own tears falling. You're already worthy. You always were, you just needed to believe it. Their kiss was witnessed by a room full of killers who'd never seen their boss cry. But he did. And he didn't care. That night in their bedroom, Aurora traced the serpent tattoo on his neck. No regrets? Daehyun pulled her closer, his arms wrapped around her like she was the most precious thing in existence. My only regret is not telling you sooner. Not fighting for you from the start. You fought for me in the end. That's what matters. I'll never stop fighting for you, Aurora Park. She smiled at her new name. Mrs. Park. I like how that sounds. I love how it sounds. He kissed her, slow and deep. I love you. I know. She grinned. You told me. About 1,000 times today alone. Get used to it. I have 3 years of silence to make up for. And as cherry blossoms fell outside their window, two people who'd found love in the darkness held each other and proved that even monsters could be redeemed. That sometimes falling harder was exactly what you needed. And that love, real, terrifying, beautiful love, was always worth fighting for.